Good morning. It's a girl in her Bible here, and I'm actually coming to you from Nashville on this wonderful cold morning. I think it's like 20 something outside. But I am visiting one of my very best friends in the whole world. She just had a baby, not too long ago, and so we are visiting her. And so I am bringing this to you from Nashville. Ooh, the hair's a little rough today. It's early in the morning. I don't normally do early in the morning. But we are going to be talking today about Isaiah 26 through 35. It's a long chunk. And so I'm going to do my best to kind of just pull little snippets. I hope you're having a great weekend. It's a long weekend for us, Martin Luther King weekend. I'm amazed at this weekend, giving reverence to a wonderful man who helped our country come together. And so I love being able to talk about this day with my kids and be able to honor him in that way. So it's really cool. But let's look at this today. We are not a whole lot in 26 that I saw. So in 27, I just thought it was cool. The first verse mentions Leviathan. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Some say it's a big sea monster. I don't know, but I thought seeing that name was kind of cool. It does say the fleeing serpent, Leviathan, the twisting serpent. He will slay the monster that is in the sea. So there's a big sea monster out there. And then at the end of 27, it talks about the big trumpet. Great trumpet will blow, and those in the land of Assyria will come, and those dispersed in the land of Egypt, they will worship the Lord at Jerusalem on the holy mountain. Based on what I'm reading, that is the day of the Lord, but I could be wrong on that. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. 28, one of the verses that's really cool is 18. It says, therefore the Lord God said, look, I have laid a stone in Zion, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. The one who believes will be unshakable. That cornerstone is Jesus. And this is one of the first, that prophecy thing we talked about in Isaiah. This is a prophecy of the Messiah and him coming. So the cornerstone there is Jesus, and he will be laid for us so that we can build on a strong foundation. I believe there's a song about that. But chapter 28 talks about how you can't place your faith in anything but God, because at this time they were trying to get help from other nations. One of them was Egypt, and the Lord had already warned them not to do that, and they weren't paying attention. And so he's saying you can't trust anything but me. In 29, I loved 29. It wasn't that, it wasn't like an uplifting book, but right before 29, the last verse of 28 says, this also comes from the Lord of armies. He gives wondrous advice. He gives great wisdom. And he does. And we just have to ask for it. I think so many times we don't ask. And so it's just sitting there in the realm of waiting for us to ask him for that wisdom. So just remember 29. Chapter 29, one of those is verse 13. It says, the Lord said, these people approach me with their speeches to honor me with lip service, yet their hearts are far from me, and human rules direct their worship of me. And I was so struck by that and how much that sounds like a lot of us today. We come to God with lip service where our hearts aren't really in it, and we wonder why we're not meeting with God. We're not meeting with Jesus. We don't hear from him. I'm guilty of this too sometimes. And our hearts just aren't in the right place, and we're just going through the motions, like just doing what we're supposed to do and being good people. But he's just saying, I know this is lip service. I know this isn't heartfelt. I know that you aren't coming to me from a place of true worship. This is lip service. I don't know another word for it, but I just am reminded that he knows that. And then you go down in 15, it says, woe to those who go to great lengths to hide their plans from the Lord. They do their works in the dark and say, who sees us? Who knows us? You have turned things around as if the potter were the same as the clay. How can what is made say to its maker, he didn't make me? How can what is formed say to the one who formed it, he doesn't understand what he's doing? And I thought about our world. But right here in this, Isaiah is saying to the people, you can't hide from God, because they were trying to make a deal, according to my research, help from Egypt versus listening to what the Lord tells them to do. So they were trying to hide their plans. And Isaiah is saying, he made you, he created you. You can't hide from him. It's like saying, oh, I'm going to hide from the person who made me. We can't hide from him. We cannot hide our plans. He knows our thoughts and our every move before we make it. It says that in this book. So just know you can't hide from God. Chapter 30, again, reminded me of our world in verses 10 and 11. It says, they say to the seers, do not see, and to the prophets, do not prophesy the truth to us. Tell us flattering things. Prophesy illusions. Get out of the way. Leave the pathway. Rid us of the Holy One of Israel. They wanted to hear what they wanted to hear. And they told Isaiah to quit prophesying. Stop telling us the truth. Give us flattering things. Make us feel good. And I thought about our world and how so many people don't want to hear the gospel, don't want to hear about the Bible. They want to be able to do what they want to do without repercussions. And sometimes, when the Lord's telling you to do something, you don't want to hear it. We all back away and we're like, nope, that's not what I want to hear right now. I want to do what I want to do. And then we come back like the prodigal son and realize that our plan wasn't as good as we thought. So he's telling them, or they're telling Isaiah, that's please give us the fun stuff right now. And he's trying to give them the message of the Lord, and he's not going to change that. Verse 21 is my favorite one of all of this section. And whenever you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear this command behind you. This is the way, walk in it. Now here he's talking about, he's showing favor to those that are in Zion or in Jerusalem. And there's a lot of messianic stuff in there too that the commentary said that will happen. But whenever I just heard that or read it, where God, if you're going to try to go to the left or to the right, and you hear that voice that says, this is the way, walk in it. And sometimes it is so quiet and it's such a whisper. And sometimes we're so busy and going so crazy that we can't hear it. But when I read that verse, I just asked the Lord to help me hear it, to help me see that little, this is the way, walk in it. Am I doing the right thing with these videos? Sometimes I'm like, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, because they're not that great. So sorry, y'all are watching them if you are. But I'm doing what the Lord asked me to do. And I know this is the way that I'm supposed to be walking. There's lots of other areas that I need help in, parenting and my job and being a wife and a mom. I don't always get those right a whole lot of times. I mess up most of the time. But I think if I start asking God, can you whisper, this is the way? Can you make it clear a little bit more? Maybe he would. I don't know. I love that verse. And the last one right there in that little section, 26, the last part of it said, on that day, the Lord bandages his people's injuries and heals the wounds of the inflicted, or heals the wounds he inflicted. He's going to bandage everything. And this is the day of the Lord. When he comes, all of this mess we go through will be gone. So then you have chapter 31. I didn't really mark anything in chapter 31. If you did and it spoke to you, please leave a message and let me know what it was. 32, same thing. It was a lot. It was good. I loved verse 17. It said the result of righteousness will be peace. The effect of righteousness will be quiet confidence forever. So that righteousness that we look for from the Lord will bring peace. And I loved that. 33 talked a lot about him and Zion and Verse 22 said, "For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king, and he will save us," and he will. The judgment of the nations was 34. Isaiah is inviting the nations to hear what the Lord is saying. And verse 8 says, "For the Lord has a day of vengeance, a time of paying back of Edom for its hostility against Zion." And I was reminded of the verse in Deuteronomy. It's Deuteronomy 32:35, where God says, "Vengeance is mine." And then there's 35. 35 is so beautiful. It is the ransomed returning to Jerusalem, and how the new Jerusalem, the new place that God builds for us, will be amazing. And in verse 2, it says, "They will see the glory of the Lord, the splendor of our God." That will happen. We will see the splendor of our God. And the last part of that, 9 and 10, "But the redeemed will walk on it, and the redeemed of the Lord will return and come to Zion with singing, crowned with unending joy. Joy and gladness will overtake them, and sorrow and sighing will flee." It's beautiful. And I know Isaiah's pattern again: destruction, damnation, and then hope. That chapter 35 is the hope chapter. And he's all like, when we return to Zion and we have this beautiful new world and this beautiful place, the lions won't be there, nothing will hurt, water will be plenty. And then that 10, that joy and gladness will overtake us. Like, everything will be joyful and happy because we will be standing in the presence of the Lord. The glory of God will shine around us, and there's nothing that we can do to I don't know, make that happen here on earth. I mean, we can't even explain it. But joy and gladness will overtake them, and sorrow and sighing will flee. You know that heavy sigh you give sometimes at the end of the day where you're like, that sigh? You won't do it anymore. There will be no busy sigh, no stressed out sigh. I'm ready for that day, because there's a lot of sighing right now in my crazy schedule life of kids' sports and my job, husband's job, everything. Lots of sighing when you get done at the end of the day, because you're just like, okay, I made it. But on that day, we will be walking with the Lord, and there will be no sighing, and there will be no sorrow, and no sadness, and no tears. And it's just beautiful. So thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoyed Isaiah 35, or 26 through 35. 35 was probably my favorite, except for that one little verse, chapter 29. Chapter 30. But you will be blessed if you continue reading. Same as me, this has got to keep going, because it's really cool to be able to say we're almost through, we're halfway through, or over halfway through with the book of Isaiah. And according to our schedule, the next chapter will be next week. I'll post the video on 36 through 45. And so hopefully you will enjoy reading that. Leave a message, comment, let me know how you're doing. I would love to hear from you. I've really enjoyed sharing this. Even if only one person is listening, it has brought me joy. And by the way, Giga Maggies, woohoo, whoop. All right, see you later. Bye.